So when we left off coding, right, with our code, it looked something like this. And if you don't have it open right now, that's fine. Just watch along. Or if you do, just watch along. Because what we're going to do now is get a little bit organized. One of the most difficult things that I see my students face when they get started is a messy desk. No, I mentioned that already, right? But it's true. But in addition to that is organizing your files. And it's true because being a developer, the websites are just files, right? And we have to name them. Naming is very hard sometimes, and organizing them in different folders. So that's what we're going to do now. No matter where you are, I want you to close out Sublime, right? So close out Sublime, close out your browser. Let's just get down the basics. And this might be tricky for a few of you. This might be tricky. We're going to create, I'm not even being condescending here. We're going to create a new folder, right? And we're going to create this new folder. We're just going to call it Party Tips, Party-Tips. I'd also prefer you use a dash and not an underscore. More on that maybe later. But keep it clean, looking good. And if everything's closed, right? You don't have Sublime open, you don't have anything open, you want to drag in that index file, right? So that when I open it, inside my Party Tips folder here, right? I have some other stuff, but inside my Party Tips, the one I made, you just have your one file, that one you created. And now we're going to do it all over again. The flow, we're going to open this in Sublime. Boom, we see our code again. And we are going to double click and open. Oh, it's still annoying. Great. In like that, right? So what we're going to do here with the next modification is we are going to add some images. And we're going to learn about adding images, taking them from the web. And we're also going to get rid of this JavaScript thing, just because we're not going to do too much JavaScript up front. Now that we know what it is, that's great, but I'm going to delete it because really that is just kind of annoying, right? So now I can refresh and that thing went away. So your code should look like this starting here. Okay, looking pretty good. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but these party tips, they came from a BuzzFeed that I just really love, from Andrew WK. He has, I don't know, something like 101 here, ridiculous. He's a rock guitarist who plays a pizza-shaped guitar, just giving you some context. And these are some, party tips. Like, there's absolutely no reason why today can't be the greatest day we've ever had. True story. Okay. So that's where these came from. And I thought, it'd be kind of fun. These crack me up to take these and just kind of mix them up with some photos of animals. Okay. So if you look below, you should have them below the video. There should be some pictures of animals there. And this is going to be a really good lesson for showing how to grab images off the web and include them in our project. Okay. So if you go down there, you should be able to grab each of these images. So watch, I'm dragging it like this on my Mac, and it puts it in my folder. That folder we created. Don't put it on your desktop. Don't put it in the folder, okay? I'm just messing with you. So I'm just trying to keep things organized, like I said. If that didn't work, you should always be able to save image as, right? And then find it on your desktop. Click this here if you want to drop that into your folder. And we want to drag each of these off of the web into our project. So you should be able to do that right now. These are the three that we're going to use for our mashup between animals and Andrew WK. Yeah. And I'm going to get rid of that. So here we are in our project. To include images into our project. So for example, if we wanted to include an image for crash parties, I thought that this penguin party would be a good one because what up? Who's this guy, right? So he's crashing the party. It's a pretty good one. We're going to use an image tag for that. Again, the spaces don't matter, so you'll see me making spaces really just because it's clearer for you to follow along for the most part. But we're using this image tag to include images, okay? And what we're going to do here is the image tag is the first tag we're learning that doesn't have a closing image tag. This is wrong. Don't do that. Just this one. And follow along. you see what I did? I type this out here, do it just like that, and if you save and refresh, make that a little smaller, you should see the picture has landed there, okay? So what we did is we made this image tag, and we added, this is src for source, and source equals penguin party here, okay? So this finds that image for us there, yeah? Looking pretty good, okay. So that's okay, that's good, it worked, hopefully it worked for you. But we can do a little bit better. Now check this out, for the next image, I'm gonna make another new folder. Where am I making it? I'm making it in my party tips, yeah, that folder you made, and I'm gonna call this images, okay? And so what's going on here is I'm gonna drag the next image into that folder. Let's drag this piglet cake one into here, okay? I know this is getting a little complicated, but right, you're following along. I can see you're doing pretty good. You have this images folder, and now when I go to grab the next image, do the same image tag, img, source equals, put the closing tag there, and this time, watch what I do. And if we are lucky, there it goes, party hard. Oh yeah. Right? It shows up just like that. So what's the difference between the two ways that we included images, right? Let's look at what we did. In the first one, you can see we had our image in what's called the root of our project. This here is the root. It's really just where you're at is kind of the way to think of it. I am here, right? And anything below you, this is a subfolder, right? Or a subdirectory. You may hear those words sometimes, subfolder or subdirectory. So anything below is going to be there, right? And to do that, you need to tell your file, this file, right? I am here. I'm going to go into the images folder, okay? So it goes and locates that, and that matches that. So again, the difference here is this one's in the root. This one's just side by side, so it doesn't need to know where to go. And this one's in the images folder, so you tell it where to go. Pretty cool. That's pretty good. That's how it knows where the images are. You know, generally we want all of our images in the images folder. So you might want to, at this point, just grab them all, put them in the images folder, and start to get in the habit of saying images, etc., etc. Go ahead. I want you to pause right now and see if you can include that third image. Okay, so maybe you paused and we're back. And we have the source here. And it should have just been as easy as saying I grabbed it off the internet, put it in my images folder, and I'm going to do cat kiss.jpg. Boom. And now save and refresh. We have kiss your own arm or leg. Perfect, right? Cute. Amazing. Everything's good. All right, this is good. This is how we want to include images into our project. One final thing, a little tip that you should always go ahead and do. You want to add another attribute, right? So another space and then alt equals with these here. What this is, alternative text, okay? So that stands for alternative text. And it's just the fact that if you think about Google, right, finding your site, Google doesn't know that this is an image of all penguins. I mean, they might, but they probably don't, right? Like maybe in the future, but not right now. They don't know this. So we want to help the search engine out. And by saying penguin party here, you're describing this image. And it could be anything here. It could be like my penguin party. It could be like penguin parties. You're not going to break it, but you're just trying to be as descriptive as possible. So we have the source. For this one, we might even just say party hard with piglet. Doesn't really matter so much, but as long as you have that in there, you want to do it because it makes your code valid, which means it's correct to do according to the web police. And for the second part, it's just good for search engines. So guess your own arm cat, whatevs, right? There we go. And that's looking pretty good. We have our HTML, we have our styles, and our images are included. One final note, and you can just watch along for this as well, but you may have images up in the parent directory, right? So if you can see, again, this is the root. This is where we're at. This file equals this. this is the subdirectory, but the parent directory above it, right? So if I had, and you can just watch along again, if I had something up here, right? So I'm here and I want to go up into this, right? So from here up, what you would do is you would need to not say images, right? For this piglet cake one, right? But you would say ... slash. So this little ... slash thing tells it, and you can see it's there, yeah? Tells it, hey, go up one directory, go from here, here. Often students ask, how would I do another one? Well, if it was 2 directories back, it would be ... slash. 3, it would be this. Okay, let's go back to where we were. We don't want to do that for this project. We want to keep everything in our images folder, but it just gives you some context to kind of how to go to a subdirectory and how to go to a parent directory. And I know some of these words may sound nerdy, but this will come up very shortly in our next project. And so I just want you to just kind of be familiar with it. So even if you don't have that memorized, just be familiar with that idea, subdirectory.